Hi everyone, let's start with our bridge session. Today we have the SmartMessage team. Kerim and Murat are with us. Kerim is in Istanbul office, Murat is in the Dubai office. Tonight we will talk more about the how you increase digital engagement, how SmartMessage has been tackling the problem, what they foresee for the future for the enterprise clients. Um, and please feel free to ask questions as they present or save your questions to the end. I believe the presentation will take about half an hour and then we will have a Q&A session. So with that, I leave it to you guys. Kerim and Murat, take it away.
Thank you,
Thank
Ali. First of all, I'm Kerim Bertrand. I'm the Senior Vice President for Global Sales and Marketing at SmartMessage. And indeed, I'm based in Istanbul. And I wanted to pull in my colleague in Dubai, Murat, so that who's our regional manager for Middle East and Africa, to kind of give you some samples of what we have accomplished and what we do in the Gulf region with regards to digital engagement. Now, the topic digital engagement and omnichannel marketing, etc., could be somewhat boring for a 6:30 p.m. Presentation. So we've added a few slices to make it more appealing for you, less boring, and perhaps a little bit more interactive. And what I would like to do is the presentation today would first of all cover what are the changes in the society and the way companies, especially financial institutions, are interacting with their customers, especially since the pandemic COVID-19. I mean, there's a huge change in the way to do business in the world. And we would like to touch a little bit upon that before we discuss a little bit of specificities of customer engagement within our essential target audience, the banks, and what we do, the different use cases that we have accomplished successfully so far. And I'd like to finish by a quick presentation of who we are and how we do those things that we have presented in the use cases. So I'll go by sharing the presentation I have, and hopefully you'll have a nice ride with us tonight. So I hope you see the presentation as it should. Now, increasing digital engagement via efficient omnichannel marketing and automation. Now, what's the current situation? What's the current status with regards to effective engagement and communication with customers? We checked, first of all, our client base. We covered about 71 industries in our research. And we analyzed about 550 million messages delivered thanks to SmartMessage. From those messages, we realized that the readership not only increased, but also the volume of communication has increased since the beginning of the pandemic. Now, compared to months prior to COVID-19, the number of SMS messages has increased 70%. Of emails by 85% and SMS by, total messages by 70%, SMS by 62%, and emails by 85%. Now, why such an increase? Of course, our lives have changed suddenly. We ended up having to confine in our homes. Banks had to shut down their branches. A number of businesses had to readapt to new reality, which is to service their customers from distance. And obviously, first of all, there was a phase of information informing the customers about what was changing, how they would actually have to adapt to that new environment, and how those companies will continue servicing their customers. So that increase of, the change of the way of doing things had to be informed properly to the customers. And that meant, obviously, the increase of digital communication. The good thing is that those communications, whether they are SMS or email, they found an echo, and people paid more attention to the messages that they were receiving because they were curious about what was happening. And the only way they could communicate with the outside world, having to be confined from home, was to actually check their emails and open what their emails was saying. And the readership obviously increased. The increase in overall email open rates has gone from 13% to 20% during the pandemic. So obviously, that also means that we pay more attention to what is coming through the digital channels. Now, I'd like to kind of take you somewhere else, make you imagine how the world is evolving, and especially now that the pandemic has come. Now, through this slide, you see a number of companies, and some of them could ring a bell, such as Turkcell there. Here you have a number of mobile operators. Do you consider them as just mobile operators? Of course, they're coming up with gaming, gamification, a number of side services, extra content, video, music, etc. But at the same time, those companies are playing into the banking. They're becoming actually ways to make transactions. They enable you to actually realize transactions. That's quite compelling in terms of change in the way businesses are doing what they used to be doing and how they are changing their activities with the new environment, with how they cope with COVID-19. Companies have to reflect on how they can sell their products and services in a way that they were not doing before, by means of using digital channels. And digital payment is obviously an increasing trend, and an amazingly increasing trend. Why? Because first of all, we're transitioning with all that digital transformation, we're transitioning to a cashless society at the same time. We no longer want to utilize cash, touch cash. We no longer can go to our traditional supermarket to make our grocery shopping. We order online, we make digital payments. And when you just check what's going on in China, it's phenomenal. I mean, in the picture, what you see is a beggar in the streets of Beijing. And that beggar has a QR code next to him. You're no longer putting cash in that small basket in front of the beggar. You're actually, or you can actually pay that beggar just by scanning the QR code and putting the amount of money that you're willing to give that to that beggar. That's possible thanks to WeChat, but that's not the only platform that's being used in China. Over $100 billion of mobile transactions happened just in 2019, and that's before the pandemic. The number has increased actually with the pandemic, and more than 765 million users. That's more than the population of many countries combined, are using mobile payments in China in 2020. Those statistics are coming from Statista, and you see where China is placed among other countries. At the bottom of the list here, which is the top 10, is you have France, but the top of the list, China, is almost double of what's happening, even more than double than what's happening in terms of mobile payments in the US. I mean, when you think about the US, the country of technologies, etc., China is way beyond that. And especially they are helped with their large population, but at the same time, we quite often utilize that analogy in our presentations, in our discussions. In emerging markets, you don't have to go from candle to gas lamp, because the technologies that are made available to you enable you to actually shift from candle all the way to LED. You skip the intermediate technologies. And that's quite compelling, the way China has excelled in terms of implementing mobile transactions, mobile communication, mobile payments, etc., in the society. That's a huge change. And we all companies need to adapt that and provide solutions and products that are relevant to that change in the society. Now, I have two readings that I would strongly recommend you. This is a surprise. This wasn't in our presentation yesterday morning, and I've decided to put those because they are quite compelling and relevant. One is from Kai-Fu Lee. Kai-Fu Lee used to be the CEO of Google in China. He quit Google because he wasn't happy the way Google was handling its market penetration in China, and is now is a venture capital company funding AI companies only in China. And he has a great book where he talks about the importance of mobile transactions in China that is helped actually by the size of the population, more than 2 billion people, inhabitants. And he also discusses about the, how to say, the importance of the client base and the data that generates from that client base. He says, it's a very famous saying, if data was today's oil, then China is definitely the Saudi Arabia of that market. Another individual that I wanted to mention is Sunil Gupta. Sunil Gupta is a teacher at Harvard Business School. He is teaching on digital strategy and digital transformation. He is the guru on digital transformation. And I had personally the pleasure to listen to Sunil Gupta in Istanbul. He came to Istanbul. And during that seminar, it was a live seminar. There was no confinement, there was no COVID. So I was sitting in a room with a bunch of people there. And Sunil Gupta was actually running a group of panelists. Among them, there was a CEO of a local bank in Turkey. I'm not going to mention the name. And we were talking about digital transformation, how the different companies were coping with digital transformation. And one of the panelists was the CEO of a mobile operator. And that banker said, we revolutionized our digital transformation and the way we were doing business. And Sunil Gupta asked, like, how did you do that? And that CEO said, well, you know what? It used to take 2 months, literally, more precisely, 22 days to actually deliver a credit card to an applicant by our bank. And 22 days was too long. So we revolutionized that process. And the moderator asked, like, how did you do that before? Well, simple. We would, the client would apply for a credit card. An agent from our bank would go to that client, will sign specific documents. Those documents will come back to the bank. We will do the credit checking and the credit scoring, and we will verify if we can give a credit card or not. We will inform the client that he is granted a credit card, he or she is granted a credit card, and the processing and sending the credit card, overall, this whole process will take 22 days. And today, we brought that down to 2 minutes. So everybody's like, wow, what did you do? Simple. The client applies for a credit card. An agent from our bank goes to the client, but this time with an iPad, and takes the application on an iPad and gets the signature, digital signature, and we do the credit checking instantly. And as soon as it is approved, we give a temporary credit card with without his name on it that he can start using for his spendings. And people were like, wow, phenomenal. I raised my hand. I said, the gentleman sitting next to you is your next competitor. And that was the CEO of a mobile operator. Because ultimately, they will beat the banks in terms of mobile payments and mobile transaction, digital engagement with their customers. Why do you need to send an agent to that customer? Why can't you take that application online or through your mobile application? Why can't you process this in a much better way? Why can't you include in your mobile application a payment solution so that actually that person can use mobile payments, etc.? So, you know, the perception of a successful transformation varies from company to company and from individual to individual. And I think Sunil Gupta, this book is a great reading, but that seminar wasn't necessarily a great reflection of what needs to be done to better engage a customer. So the acceleration of a digital transformation via the pandemic has a name, and it's called the pandemic effect. In the industry, we call it the pandemic effect because due to that inability to communicate with the customer face-to-face, because the branches are closed, because obviously, you know, we have lockdowns or confinements, mandatory confinements, the digital transformation had to speed up. This was already in process in a number of financial institutions, in a number of companies. Everybody was trying to transform digitally without necessarily knowing exactly where this will take them. But the process and the goal had to speed up because of the pandemic. And we realized that the customer journeys that we wanted to create for individuals had to become had to be done through digital channels. And because we transferred the customer journeys through the digital channels, we started actually to providing our products and services through digital-only alternatives. No bank branch, so therefore, how do you sell your products and services? And we understand now that the customer experience, notion of customer experience has changed and has become a digital experience. The notion of digital experience now is the primary notion that everybody's talking about through that digital transformation and in the new normal. Now, for an effective digital engagement, first of all, brands need to be present in channels customers prefer. Whether they want to receive information via email, marketing information via push notifications, transactional messages via SMS, certain informations that will pop up in the web when the website knows who's accessing it, etc. So all the channels need to be orchestrated based on the client's preferences. And also those brands need to provide transparency in order to avoid digital noise, meaning that the information that is communicated through those different channels has to be consistent and it has to be actually balanced, and you should not receive the same information through all the channels just because you have given your phone number, email address, and home address, etc. to that bank. It needs to be avoiding digital noise. And hyper-personalization has become extremely important. When you have that distance between you and the customer, getting to know your customer, or KYC, knowing your customer, has become even more important. So you need to utilize the technologies available to you to actually hyper-personalize your messaging. Make sure that the message is addressed for that person, knowing who that person is, what that person does, what that person likes, and at the right time from the right place. And just a sec. The information needs to be delivered. Those brands need to deliver the information at the right moment to increase customer loyalty and customer satisfaction. Now, we like to call this effective digital engagement the moment marketing. Moment marketing meaning that the information needs to be sent with the right content to the right customer, from the right channel, and at the right moment. So how do you do that? First of all, the unification of data across all channels and solving the data in silos issue some of the companies have is one way to actually, first of all, reach out to the right customer with the right content. We know exactly then the customer, we know exactly what the customer needs, and we communicate that information, that relevant information, to that right customer. And it needs to be done through, obviously, the right channel. And with an omni-channel strategy, you can deliver consistency and seamlessness and make sure that the information is sent from the channels that the customer prefers or responds more positively towards. And the right moment, of course. When do you send it? It's very basic. Ladies usually shop during their lunch breaks, so you're rather tempted to send, obviously, new campaigns and discounts, etc., via email or mobile application during lunch breaks rather than other irrelevant times. And the right moments is important to actually achieve the best ROI and the best outcome. And that can be possible through automation. Now I'll give the floor to Murat, and Murat will give you some samples of what we have realized, what we have accomplished in the Gulf region in particular.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kerim. And hello, everyone. My name is Murat, and I'm working as regional manager in Dubai, and I'm covering Middle East and Africa. As Kerim mentioned, I will be sharing some use cases for digital engagement in GCC region. This one is the first one that I would like to talk about. It's the installment payment plan. And this is a very efficient way to support the banking customers. As you know, for every individual and for every business, maintaining a positive cash flow has always been important. But when the times of increased uncertainty, this became more important. Suggesting installment plans to the customers can be very supportive in motivating banks' customers. And of course, obviously also increase the customer satisfaction as well. Through our platform, SMS or push notification can be provided as an information about the transaction with the suggestion to convert the payments into installments. Here we named Smart Bank as a bank, and it can provide its customers with selections from 12 months to 36 months for installments. And right now, as a use case, let's assume that a customer A's total outstanding balance is $6,000, let's say for the month of January. And with the IPP booking, the customer can have the credit card total statement amount, and he or she can proceed with 12 months term and pay $500 plus interest for each month. So the IPP scenario can be utilized both for the online or post transactions for the total credit card outstanding balance. And we can integrate our platform with the bank's core banking system, and accordingly create this kind of scenarios and rules. And SmartMessage IPP scenario is very easy to implement, and the customers can make a selection of their preferences with a few clicks and move on and finalize in a very short time. Banks can engage more effectively using different channels by creating a flow of events and actions. We have a module called SmartMessage Autoflow. This module is our marketing automation and stream analytics module. This gives the flexibility to create cross-channel and cross-channel campaigns based on the real-time events. And it's again very easy to use by using a drag and drop workflow tool. Customers can create this kind of flows. And these events could be mobile app events. Also, they can be credit cards, transaction events, even like ATM events or website events we can create. And for example, when the bank sends a marketing campaign by email, we can create actions based on the customer clicks, such as if not clicked, the bank can automatically send a reminder SMS to make sure that the customer remains engaged through various channels, through various digital channels. For our installment payment plan process, we can also create related flows. We can provide loan offers for the customers who do not have cash in their bank accounts. We can specify this as an event and create specific actions for this event. We can create flows like sending loan offer through SMS, through email or push notification. Here at this slide, we can imagine a customer A who makes a large spending with his or her credit card and reaches a certain threshold of his or her credit card limit. In this scenario, the bank checks first the number of transactions recorded in the customer's cash account. And if the amount of cash goes below a previously set threshold, then the system automatically sends the customer a loan offer with terms based on the customer's payment history. With SmartMessage platform, we can design a workflow such as if the customer's card balance reaches a certain percentage of the total limit, and then the system can offer an increase on the credit card limits, or it can provide a specific loan at a customized interest rate. As an example, the message can say, we would be delighted to help you with your spendings. We can increase your credit card limit to $10,000 or offer you a loan payable in 12 months with a special rate. We, as SmartMessage, can even send a animated video or via email, SMS, or push, which is customized with the customer's, again, total spending, credit card limit, and the loan details. In another use case, we can imagine a customer B who has health problems this time, and therefore he or she has frequent health-related expenses. Here, SmartBank can check the frequency and amount of health-related transactions from the customer B's credit card. And with SmartMessage, we can design a workflow such as if the customer's card balance reaches a certain percentage of the total limit, then again, the system can offer an increase on the credit card limit, or again, provide a specific loan for the health expenses. Again, this offer can be sent through various digital channels such as email, SMS, push notification. And as an example, the message can say, we as SmartBank value your help and support with your health-related expenses. We are offering a loan with the help of the insurance partners. So SmartBank can then provide a link in the message. By the way, with our platform, our customers can also track this kind of messages as reports, like if the message is clicked or read by the customers or not. Our customers can follow and track this kind of reports. And as mentioned previously, thanks to these flows, banks can assist their customers and, of course, create a better engagement via IPP booking, and as a result, they can increase a better customer experience. Now, let's have a look at another use case for banking industry, and now let's think of a customer who visits the bank's website to apply for a loan. The customer visits the bank's website and starts to fill out the form as a first step, but let's imagine that he or she does not complete the form. After one day, the customer receives an email. At that email, the customer can see the advantage rates, and there is also a call to action button. This call to action button redirects the customer where he left or she left off. And after the 3 days, as he or she didn't complete the form, as the customer didn't click that link, the bank can send an SMS notifying him or her about the call that the customer is going to receive within an hour. And by the way, at the same time, there is a ticket is opened to the call center at the call center of the bank. And the bank's call center calls the customer, tries to convince him or her to complete the form, the loan application form, and the flow is terminated. By this way, the bank can collect an accurate information, data from the customers, and accurately they can update their CRM, and this will automatically help the bank to bring the necessary business improvements. Now let's have a look at another use case regarding the insurance industry. And here let's assume our potential customer Cindy we named it as Cindy, and she navigates through the insurance companies, which we called here Smart Insurance website, and decides to fill in the product information form. So once she fills in the form, the flow previously created on the SmartMessage is triggered, and an SMS is sent to customer. The SMS is for the purpose of informing the prospects and notifies that she will be contacted soon by the call center. Therefore, again, a ticket is assigned by the automation tool to the call center, and the Smart Insurance agent calls Cindy. Now, our flow is starting now, and if she's reachable, she's informed by the agent on the plan that best suits her, and she's offered by a campaign. If Cindy is unreachable, then if Cindy is unreachable, then the automation tool receives the call status from the call center, and the solution triggers an SMS to let Cindy know that she was contacted and that she will be offered the best plan once she fills in her profile information. And when she fills in the form, she's offered the best plan again. And if the prospect is not responsive to the purchase offer, again, she's reminded through SMS. Or by the way, the company can choose another channel as well, like email, push notification. But at this use case, we use again an SMS. And in this scenario, the prospect is more likely to turn into a customer through effortless digital follow-up. Right after the use cases, I will briefly talk about the increased use of chatbots as an enabler of enhanced digital engagement. A chatbot, as you know, is widely used. Here, I have shared some stats with you, and there are more than 1 billion people right now using the chatbots to self-resolve their problems, issues, and using chatbots for frequently asked predictive questions reduces the operational costs of the companies, and we are decreasing the number of service hours, and still provide a more support and increase the satisfaction of the customers. For the banking industry, we have categorized the use of chatbots in 3 groups. First one is the streamline everyday tasks. Here the bank's customers can use chatbots in order to transfer money between the accounts, get account summary, account details, to view the current balance, to view and pay bills. And the second one is to help customers find what they need. Here we can give examples such as to find the nearest bank branch, ATMs, viewing current foreign exchange rates or current interest rates. And the last one is to deliver personalized customer experiences. For this category, banks customers can report lost or stolen cards, and they can view past bank statements. They can stop recurring or one-time payments, and also they can schedule calls with an agent. By the way, we have a partnership with WhatsApp in Turkey, and one of our customers, a retail chain, is using chatbots and integrated with WhatsApp. By this solution, they have increased the loyalty of their customers, and they have reduced the operational costs. And currently, their customers even started to do the payments using the chatbot. Thank you. Kerim?
Let me unmute myself. Okay, thank you so much, Murat. So we've presented you a couple of different use cases that we actually brought to life in the MEA region, in Middle East and Africa, in the GCC region in particular. And those are not the only, obviously, different flows or use cases that we have. We won't have enough time to cover all of them. But in any case, those use cases use specific tools and solutions in the backend, and this is what I will be discussing about, and I'm presenting you very briefly SmartMessage. Now, how do we present us? How do we offer a seamless and affordable customer engagement via secured and personalized digital communication? First of all, let me present you our company. We've been in the market for the last 15 years. We've been founded in Turkey by two former bankers who used to work on the technology side of banking. And they saw this opportunity within the banks initially, that a lot of the banks were trying to develop in-house their communication platform. And that was a pointless investment. And they came up with the idea to come up with a solution, a software that banks could comfortably deploy in their own premises to communicate via digital channels. And back then it was essentially email with their customers. So obviously over time, the number of digital channels has increased. And with the sophistication of the customer base, obviously the requirements have evolved, and therefore our capabilities have evolved as well. We currently cover over 2,000 institutional clients. The majority of those are mom and pop shops and small companies, small and medium-sized companies. But the large enterprises that we work with represent obviously the biggest share, the lion's share in our revenues. And you see some of the brands that we are happily working with in Turkey and some other parts of the world. Now we have obviously very valuable partnerships with the mobile operators in different countries, in Turkey and in the UAE. And we've been a Microsoft partner since 2010. Now, when we look at the platform and the solutions that function behind the use cases that Murat presented, what you need to focus right now is actually the bottom of this table, where you see the different environments with which our solutions happen to work with in an integrated way. And in the use cases that Murat presented, you've seen that obviously we check the credit card spending of a customer that has reached a certain percentage of the credit card limit. That information, if it's not stored in the CRM, it's definitely within the core banking system. And our obviously automation tool extracts that information from the core banking system or the CRM and puts it into action in a workflow where this individual receives the relevant messages to increase the credit card limit. So we have obviously integrations with a number of different types of systems, legacy systems, and therefore we help also the unification of data by doing so. And we have obviously also integrations via Open API or REST API. We developed a native add-on for Dynamics 365. So whoever is using Dynamics 365 can download, actually enable or turn on the SmartMessage solutions, and therefore start sending emails and SMS, etc., and automate the communication from Dynamics, and therefore feed Dynamics back again with the results of those campaigns and communications. We have a flexible deployment structure, so we can deploy on-premise if the company is willing to, is preferring to. It depends also on data regulations within the market where we operate, or we can deploy a hybrid or purely on private cloud if it's not our SaaS version of our tool, which sits on public cloud, of course. Now, the top section where you see the different channels are triggered by two essential solutions that we have. One is our Engage module, which enables basically the management of campaigns and the outbound messaging that you can do via email, push, or SMS to communicate with your customers. And we have obviously integration with a number of different types of channels, IVR, IPTV, etc., where you can actually utilize the platform to communicate with as many different channels as you want. And comes certain moments where you need that interaction with the customer, where the customer wants to reach out to you with questions or with certain needs. And Murat mentioned at the end of his section about the chatbot solutions. Our chatbot framework is called Connect, SmartMessage Connect, and it's integrated, as Murat said rightfully, with WhatsApp. But we have cases where Twitter is the tool that is being integrated with our chatbot framework in order to communicate with the customers. It could be also Viber, it could be Facebook Messenger. It's up to the customer, our client, to decide which channels, social media channels, are going to be used. And when you have all those different channels integrated and where you can communicate with the customers, of course, sending the right message to the right customer at the right moment requires a certain automation as well. And that automation is possible with our automation and stream analytics tool, which is called Autoflow, SmartMessage Autoflow. And that's the part that you integrate with the core banking system, the CRM extra. And even you can actually capture external data via API, such as weather information, in order to add, I don't know, a different component to your journey. We have that case with an automotive company in Turkey, where if obviously snow is coming within a week or two, then the customers receive a push notification saying like it's time to change for snow tires. Nobody's checking the weather report in order to trigger that campaign. It's automatically done. Obviously, the GDPR requirements and the consent management requirements have pushed us to develop a tool called Audience, SmartMessage Audience, and it's actually a consent management and audience profiling and segmentation tool. This module helps actually customers select the channels that they want to get communicated from, and under which circumstances and how. And obviously, for example, you would not want, and I'm sure it happens to a number of us, you would not want to receive marketing SMS at 5 a.m. in the morning just because you're roaming and you're in a different country. And the last solution is our SmartMessage Secure solution, which is actually a tool that enables the banks to protect their customers against an important risk and a fraud, which is a SIM swap fraud. I'm not going to go too much into the details, but this used to be a problem in Turkey. SIM swap fraud cases were happening, and we've solved this with a number of banks and brought that problem down to zero, basically. And now that solution is deployed in the UAE as well, and there are some other countries that are actually in line waiting to deploy that solution. Now, overall, what that solution or the smart message marketing platform enables is enabling data unification, consent management, automated personalization, and omni-channel engagement. And if you remember what I was mentioning about the digital transformation journey at the very beginning of our session, digital transformation entails a few pillars. And one of the pillars is obviously unifying data, and by unifying data is actually aligning management, aligning the vision of the company around one specific goal. It means also utilizing and adopting and embracing technology. So using our solution is also embracing technology. It means also increasing the level of technological savviness of the human resources within that entity, and therefore utilizing such channels and communicating digitally with the customers enables a digital learning for the employees of a company. But most importantly, the most important pillar is the customer. All the transformation needs to happen around the customer and making sure that we provide a seamless experience to that customer. If we miss the customer and that seamless experience for the customer, the entire digital transformation journey is actually meaningless for the entity. So data unification, consent management, automated personalization, therefore hyper-personalization, and that omni-channel engagement for seamless and continuous engagement of the customer represent also the pillars of a successful digital transformation. Tracking and reporting, definitely, because you want to measure your performance and fine-tune your interactions with the customers based on the results of those interactions. Now, the key differentiators we have before I finish the presentation is, first of all, our global enterprise readiness. We can deploy our solution to any environment in any location in a very short period of time, but actually, most importantly, it's scalable. And that's very key because a number of our clients start with, I don't know, 400, 500,000 customers, but they're aiming at reaching 1 million, 2 million, 3 million in a year or 2 years' time. And we need to be able to actually sustain that increased demand and that increased engagement required by our customers, our clients. High availability and scalability is obviously another key differentiator. And the capability, and that's probably our most important and noticeable know-how, is our capability to basically integrate, whether with soft or solid integrations, REST API or solid connectors, with any sort of environment and system. And that enables actually to, first of all, for entities who have spent millions of dollars in a core banking system or in a CRM or in an ERP solution, to actually remain comfortable with their investments that they've made, because we will definitely integrate our solution on top of whatever they are using. We cannot go to our customer and say, you know what, if you want to use our solution, you need to switch your CRM, because that's actually a huge and a long-term, huge in terms of investment, but actually a long-term project for those companies. And ease of use and the user friendliness of the platform is important. The multi-language structure of the platform is important. Right now, I mean, you have shown our presence, global presence in a previous slide. We're actually deploying our presence to 3 new continents. I'm not talking about just countries, but 3 new continents. And therefore, the capability to actually switch languages, include new languages, and use easily the platform become critical for us. This is a picture of our team taken when the COVID-19 confinement obligations were not there. You can see me in the picture. We have a few people who are no longer with us, but we have many new people who have joined us. I'm looking forward to the time when we will be able to actually get together again and enjoy our togetherness and take a nice, good picture. In fact, Murat is not on that picture because he was in Dubai.
Yes.
So we offered Photoshop, but he declined it. He didn't want to be, included in the Photoshop. So thank you for your time. And I'm going to stop sharing and check the questions if there are any. And someone wrote Paribu had that issue, and I was wondering actually what the issue was.
It was about the fraud detection, I believe. That's when the question came along. The SIM card swap.
SIM card.
There we go. It's actually a state-of-the-art solution that we have, but it takes two to tango. We need to have banks and mobile operators align, or the buying entity and the mobile operators align, because the information, whether there has been a SIM swap or a port change, lies within the telecom operator. So as long as we're integrated with the mobile operator and check the data, it's actually, our solution enables actually not only to block and blacklist suspicious transactions or suspicious actions, and demand further authentication through different flows that can function in the background, and then later on whitelist the number if it can be whitelisted, and that's quite important actually to protect the customers. I see, for example, in the US, a lot of the companies are just sending white papers or marketing emails to their customers saying like what you should do in order to avoid SIM swap fraud. And number one is, if you lose signal in your phone, that could be a sign, so please contact us. And that's not how they should be protecting their customers. That's actually once the evil has happened.
Okay, do we have any questions for Murat and Kerim? Kerim, can I share your email with everyone? Is that okay? If anyone has questions?
Not private one, but professional one, definitely.
Mara has a question.
I understood correct, a website is always the first contact with the customer, which triggers the chain of further contacts. Bank initial example. Do you also have considered social media as a point of entry? Yes, definitely. And website is not the only point of entry. There are some challengers banks that we work with and we're in touch with, that we discuss with. Those challenger banks, sometimes they don't have websites, they go mobile directly. So how do you onboard a customer just by a mobile application? So unless the mobile application is installed already in the phone, you won't be able to actually communicate via the mobile phone. So how do you do that? You actually use social media, social channels. And there are different ways of actually communicating with the social, with individuals through those social medias. Via Facebook, you can actually, based on a certain data that you have acquired in a certain way, you can actually match that data's profile with similar profiles on Facebook and communicate to that audience. You won't have the contact details of those individuals, but actually you will reach out to them and therefore increase your onboarding. So social media, definitely, mobile also, especially with challenger banks, and websites is one way, but definitely via digital channels.
Avesh also has a question. Maybe you guys would like to take a look at it.
Could the incomplete loan use case not be integrated into retail use case around an open basket use case? Could be a positive spin in the online retail space. Definitely, definitely. Look, mea culpa, we don't have a huge penetration in the retail industry, but we do have quite a prominent retail companies using our solutions. They are usually big box retail houses rather than just e-commerce websites. But definitely the incomplete loan is similar to basically a product left in the basket. So as long as you have the information through the website that you have an item left in the basket, you can actually trigger specific messages to say, you have this opportunity to complete your transaction. If that could help, we'll give you 10% discount on your purchase if you make your purchase before 9 p.m. today.
Great. It was a good summary of all the capabilities of SmartMessage. Thank you for that. I did share Kerim's email, his work email, with everyone. So in case anyone has questions, please do go ahead and ping him. Thank you everyone for being with us tonight. And thank you, Murat and Kerim, for sharing all this knowledge about SmartMessage with all the MITs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali, for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.